Stop me if you've heard this before. Miami is going to be really, really good this year. We hear that line every single season, but the U is just 19 and 18 over the last 3 years. They're just 12 and 13 under Mario Cristobal. They haven't had a double-digit win season since 2017. They haven't won a bowl game since 2016. The pressure is on this year, not just for Miami, but certainly for Mario Cristobal. Is this the year that they can finally live up to the hype? That's what we're going to answer today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys, here with our official Miami Hurricanes college football prediction. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes especially our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of our expert picks, the best college football spread picks in the entire country. We're hitting over 63% of our bets. We have beat out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 6 years. We're going to make it 7 by season's end. So the earlier you sign up for those, the better, because you get a lot of exclusive content to go along with those picks once the season starts. So go check it out. Sign up for those today. Also, check out our mailing address. Send us some of your team's gear. We'd love to represent the U in our background here. That mailing address, you can send us any gear you want that we can represent your team as we expand our GE Nation from coast to coast. So Miami, guys, this is a big, big year. I mean, another losing season, another mediocre year could spell the end of the Mario Cristobal era. This is a program that expects to win. This is a program that should win, and for some reason, they just can't do it. But this could be the year it finally happens. Why? Because they are loaded across the board. Look at the offense. They went out and loaded up in the transfer portal. Arguably got the best transfer quarterback in the class in Cam Ward, transferring in from Washington State, where last year he threw for over 3,700 yards, 25 touchdowns, and completed over 67% of his passes. So they've got themselves a quarterback, one of the best out there. Then they got themselves a running back, Damian Martinez, transferring in from Oregon State after rushing for over 2,100 yards over the last 2 years. Really, Miami should be thanking the Pac-12. Miami should be thanking the Pac-12 for its poor leadership and the fact that it fell apart. If that doesn't happen, they probably don't get Cam Ward from Washington State. They don't get Damian Martinez from Oregon State, both of which got left in the dust when the Pac-12 disbanded. So that's huge for Miami. Xavier Restrepo comes in as their leading wide receiver from last year, over 1,000 yards last season. So you got a 1,000-yard receiver at Cam Ward's disposal. You've got Jacoby George as well, over 800 yards receiving last year. Then they added Samuel Brown, transfer wide receiver from Houston, who had over 800 reception yards last year. So you've got a great quarterback, you've got a great running back, you've got some great weapons at their disposal, and you've got an offensive line that has a combined 121 career starts, now anchored by a transfer center in Zach Carpenter, who comes in from Indiana. This offense is loaded for Miami, but they've got to know how to use it, and they've got to deliver. The defense, the same exact thing, right? 7 starters back on that side of the ball. Their leading tackler in Francisco Mauigoa is back at linebacker, 7.5 sacks from last year. He's paired with Ruben Bain up front on the defensive end, also had 7.5 sacks last year. And then they loaded up in the transfer portal again. They bring in the transfer Simeon Barrow, 110 tackles during his time at Michigan State. C.J. Clark comes in from NC State. The only concern, if there is one for Miami, is probably their secondary that gave up over 215 passing yards per game last year, but they also loaded up with some transfers to kind of bulk up the depth back there as well. So this Miami team, they're stacked from top to bottom, but can they deliver? Take a look at their schedule. It's very, very favorable. They need to deliver, but they open up the year in the Hot Seat Bowl against Florida in Gainesville. Both Billy Napier at Florida and Mario Cristobal at Miami are on the hot seat. Back-to-back, very disappointing seasons for both of these coaches. And the loser of this is going to be on the hot seat even more so. The seat's going to be on fire. So a lot of pressure for both of these coaches and both of these teams that have high expectations. This is Miami's first visit to the Swamp since 2008. And I look at this game, guys, and if you really break it down, Miami's got the offensive edge. I'm taking Cam Ward over Graham Mertz every day of the week. Miami's got the offensive edge pretty much at every level. Quarterback, running back, wide receivers, offensive line. They've got it. Defensively, these teams might be about even, but you might lean towards the edge of Miami. So if you look at it, I think Miami's got a lot of edges here with the exception of home field advantage, something that I believe they can overcome. Florida has a couple questions in the secondary, just like Miami. I think Miami is able to exploit that with Cam Ward, who's going to be eager to have a big debut with the Hurricanes. Miami's defense only gave up 106 rushing yards per game last year. I think that number stays about the same, if not gets better, which means Graham Mertz is going to have to win this game solely through the air. He's not going to be able to do it. Give me Miami to go into the swamp and steal a big, big win over the Gators. And that puts the pressure big time on Billy Napier. After that, the schedule lightens up. I think they win their next 3. Don't sleep on USF. That's a game where I can see Miami looking ahead to their big game against Virginia Tech. A USF team that beat Syracuse 45-0 in their bowl game last year, went 7-6, averaged nearly 32 points per game, and has 18 starters returning. So don't overlook the Bulls. That would be a classic Miami thing to do, to beat Florida, be 3-0, nationally ranked, looking good, and then choke against USF on the road. But I don't think that's going to happen. Just be mindful of that. 4-0, though, heading in to Virginia Tech. That's a massive, massive game. This is a game that is really going to test Miami's defense once again, as Virginia Tech returns 95% of their offensive production from last year. Kyron Drones returns a dangerous dual-threat quarterback. They've got a great running back as well, Bayshaw Tootin. This is a team that really can do a lot of damage. But the one thing that Virginia Tech struggled with mightily last year, this is a team that's going to be really, really good, right? I mean, this is a team that could challenge for an ACC title spot. Virginia Tech could. They're going to improve across the board. But the Hokies struggled mightily last year in stopping the run. Went 7-6, but in all 6 of their losses, their opponent rushed for at least 179 yards. While the Hokies have certainly gotten better, they are now facing, on the road, one of the better running backs in the conference now in Damian Martinez. I think Martinez has himself a big day against his Virginia Tech defense. I never am going to worry about Cam Ward having a big day or delivering. With home field advantage, even though there's not much, Miami gets the job done on a Friday night against a very good Virginia Tech team. I think this game very well could be one possession when it's all said and done, but it's going to be the Hurricanes that come through, get the win, and remain undefeated. 5-0 after the month of September. Potentially top 10 in the country at this point. They go all the way west to take on California, a very long road trip facing a California team off of a bye week, well rested, so don't overlook this game either if you're Miami, kind of looking ahead to that bye week, riding the high of that Virginia Tech win, but kind of similar to some of the things we talked about earlier, especially with that Florida game. If Miami can stop the run, if they can stop Jaden Ott at California, who will once again be one of the better running backs in this league, they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. Furthermore, California's secondary was atrocious last year. Gave up 288 passing yards per game. It's going to improve. Their depth in the secondary is a lot better this year than it was last year. But will they improve enough to stop Cam Ward? I'm going to say no. Cam Ward last year with Washington State played California, torched the Golden Bears for 354 yards. He's going to throw for at least 300 again on the road against the Golden Bears. Better weapons, better offensive line. Miami wins. They're 6-0 at the midway point of the season. Whew. Look at that. Finally living up to the hype. They've clinched bowl eligibility, so you don't have to worry about that. But now Miami's got their sights set on more. 6-0, probably a top 10 team. 12-team playoff. Can they slip in there? They go on the road to take on Louisville, a tough, tough game against the Cardinals, the ACC runner-up last year. Last season in Miami was a great game. Louisville squeaked out a win 38-31. The Hurricanes allowed 470 yards of offense to the Cardinals. The problem is, Louisville is fantastic on offense once again. Tyler Shuck comes in, transferring in from Texas Tech, kind of bounced around throughout his career, and we hope he can stay healthy. He's battled a lot of injuries through his career, but if he stays healthy, he's going to have a fantastic season, especially with the weapons that Jeff Brom and Louisville has surrounded him with. They've got Colin Lacey, the star from South Alabama, Ja'Cory Brooks transferring in, a strong offensive line, and 7 starters back on defense for a Cardinals defense that only gave up 100 rushing yards per game last year in just 21 points per game. At home, where Louisville was phenomenal last season, I don't think the Cardinals slip up. I think the Cardinals come through. They can hang with Miami. The defense can slow down Miami's offense. Louisville's offense can match Miami's offense step for step. Home field advantage going to be huge in this one. Louisville comes through, hands Miami their first loss of the year. 6-1, now heading into their rivalry game against Florida State. This is a big one too. Florida State's a big-time contender, as we know. If you're Miami, you can't be hung over. There is still so much to play for. An ACC title, still in play. A playoff berth, still in play. So you lose to Louisville, first loss of the year. You come home to play Florida State. Don't be hung over. You lost 27-20 last year. Gave the eventual ACC champions everything you could handle. And I think they're not going to be hung over. I think they're going to beat the Seminoles. I think they're going to take down their in-state rival. I really think this defense can exploit DJ Uiagalelei, who's not a bad quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback. This Hurricanes team has lost 3 straight to Florida State, and that streak needs to end, and it will end at home. They have the edge on offense, certainly at quarterback, certainly at running back. They're relatively similar on defense. They've got a home field advantage. Again, not much, but they've got it. They don't have to go to Tallahassee. They will beat Florida State. They will get back on track, back in the win column. They'll beat Duke the next week in the Manny Diaz Bowl. Manny Diaz, the former Miami head coach, now the head coach of the Blue Devils. They will win that game, and then they go on the road to Georgia Tech. This is a trap game if I've ever seen one. If you remember last year, Miami should have beat Georgia Tech. Last year, I think their loss to Georgia Tech was their undoing. I think the season would have looked a lot different for Miami had Mario Cristobal, not been an idiot. For some reason, Miami had the game won. All they had to do was take a knee. They didn't. Georgia Tech forced a fumble and then scored a touchdown with 1 second left. Wide open, too, by the way, to win the game 23-20. Made no sense. Miami was 17th in the country, had the game in the bag, coughed it up, and everything kind of started to spiral out of control after that. Georgia Tech has also given Miami everything they can handle. Pulled off that win last year miraculously. They only lost by 3 back in 2021. They beat the Hurricanes as massive underdogs in 2019. And now the Yellow Jackets return 8 starters. This offense is very, very dangerous. Haynes King, Jamal Haynes. This is a good Georgia Tech offense that could light up Miami's defense if they're not ready. If they're looking ahead to that bye week. If they sleepwalk through this game. And Miami fans are going to hate me, but I'm calling for a loss here. This is a trap game if I've ever seen one. Georgia Tech, Atlanta's going to be rocking. I think if they come out with a fast start, and they will, if Miami starts having to play from behind, it's going to be a struggle. This game has all the makings of potentially being a shootout, and I think Georgia Tech delivers for a signature win, another signature upset win under Brent Key, who has been prone to doing that in his very short time as head coach of the Yellow Jackets. Miami slips up, costed up to Georgia Tech just like they did last year. Keep in mind the Yellow Jackets also off a bye week, which helps them here, so a week of rest to prepare for this big game against Miami. They're unable to get their revenge. Miami takes their second loss of the year. But luckily for them, they come out of the bye week and look at their last 2 games they're against. Wake Forest and Syracuse, 2 very, very winnable games. They will cruise past Wake Forest on Senior Day, and they go on the road to Syracuse, their first trip to the Carrier Dome since 2002. I like this Syracuse team a lot. I love the culture they're instilling. Fran Brown coming in, going to do some great things with the Orange. I love the talent they've brought in, but it's not enough to match Miami, who still at this point, despite 2 losses, could still be in the hunt for an ACC title, could still be in the hunt for the college football playoff, especially if they can make the ACC championship game. So they beat the Orange, they win that game, and they finish the year at 10-2. 10-2. I'm buying the hype. It might come back to bite me like it has sometimes in years past, but I'm buying the hype. Miami has all the pieces to have an elite team this year. All the pieces to challenge for an ACC title this year. I believe they will clinch their first double-digit win season since 2017. I believe they will go to an elite bowl game. And depending on how the rest of the conference shapes out, I believe they will have a shot at the 12-team college football playoff. But regardless, this will be one of the best Miami football seasons in recent memory. One of the best seasons that we've seen in a very, very long time. Miami lives up to the hype, wins 10 games, and maybe, just maybe, the U might be back. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home of those expert picks. The earlier you sign up for those, the better. So don't miss out on one of the best deals in the country, guys. And all of that exclusive content we have for you over there and down in the description. Again, come on, become a member of our GE Nation. Join our team here at the channel. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.